Good morning. Welcome to Experience Learning Center, the relaunch of Experience Learning Center, which was launched back in 2013 originally. But we'll talk about that some other time. Today is in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Day. And I have a few quotes ahead of me, in front of me, well, ahead of us, because that's what we're really talking about. And I figured I would just read a few and then give you some thoughts and encourage you to write down some thoughts that you have after each of these quotes. And then we can compare them. How's that sound? The first one is this: the art of acceptance is the art of making someone who has just done you a small favor wish that he might have done you a greater one. I'm going to read it one more time because I know sometimes when I hear quotes, I need to hear them a couple times in order for them to sink in a little bit. The art of acceptance is the art of making someone who has just done you a small favor wish that he might have done you a greater one. So, when I first read this, when I first heard it, as I spoke it aloud, I thought that it was saying the art of acceptance is when someone does you a favor, you wish that they had done you a greater favor. But I misread it. That's why it's important that we read things more than once. I got the message wrong. Because acceptance is accepting when someone does, it doesn't matter the size of a favor or a good deed. It's the intention behind it. And how better to encourage them to continue this good action, but to be thankful, to be grateful. That's encouraging to them. That was a good act. So you know what? I'm going to do it again and again and again. And you know what? I might even do a bigger one the next time. The next quote, and I'm gonna, if I can figure out how to do it, and I will because I'm gonna research it today. I'm gonna put underneath in the comment sections the resources that I am using so that I don't get accused of plagiarism. We'll talk about plagiarism some other time. Almost always, the creative, dedicated minority has made the world better. Again, I'm going to read it another time. Almost always, the creative, dedicated minority has made the world better. Now, be careful, because when I was thinking about this, I was like, do I fit into the minority? I don't know. Do you? Usually, what happens in the world is a few people have a good idea that change needs to take place. Then they get some of their friends to agree with them and to work with them in making that change a reality. So, I don't know. Are you, Mr. Patrick, part of a minority? I sometimes think I am. I'm not going to get into my personal life, but I'm going to tell you something, that whenever someone wants to create change, it comes from one person. Then it leads to another person, and then another person, and another person. Kind of like the snowball effect, right? Or the dominoes, they all start falling. But it takes a few of them in order to get a movement going. So that's what they're talking about as far as a minority goes. So what minority do you belong to? Do you belong to a group of people that see that good needs to take place in the world, and that you are going to be that agent of change, that minority, in order to build a majority. This is one of my favorite quotes from Martin Luther King. And after I get done making this recording, I'm going to research where this quote came from, because I want to read the whole speech. That I think it might be from I Have a Dream. But this is one of my favorite quotes, and I'll explain to you in a second. If a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause and say, "Here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well." Let's hear it again. If a man is called to be a street sweeper, or might I add, if a woman is called to be a street sweeper, if anyone is called to be a street sweeper, they should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. They should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, "Here lived great street sweepers who did their job well." I put together an impressionistic lesson. I know some students that are probably listening to this and watching this today will remember this about a year ago. And the impressionistic lesson is called "The Best in Me," and maybe I'll make a video of "The Best of Me." But the whole part of it is, the moral of the story is, sometimes it's hard and difficult to be the best that we can be. It can be tiring, right? It means it takes a lot of attention and focus, and attention and focus takes energy and commitment. All those things sound so heavy, but they're necessary. If you want to be acknowledged, no, you know what? It's not about wanting. Because in our world today, people are wanting a lot. They want to be famous. They want to win the $1 billion mega millions. They want a lot. It's more important to look at needs. What does a plant need in order to grow? It needs nutrition. It needs sun. It needs water. It needs care, right? The proper environment in order to grow. Do you take these things into consideration when you think of the word want? Sometimes our wants are greater than our needs. And we just need to slow down, focus on those important things that help us grow and mature and do the best work that we can. And that's the last thing, is his heart. What are you investing? That's the care part. It might mean taking more time to do work that might take someone else no time at all. But you know what? You are investing, you are instilling in that work who you are, your being. Doing and being have a lot in common. Sometimes people divorce the two, okay, separate the two. But it's very important that as we're doing, we are being. and our being comes about through what we do. So the marriage of those two things is so very important. And what Martin Luther King Jr. is saying here is that when we invest our best, the best of who we are at any given moment, okay? So that's our out. That's kind of our out. If you need some rest and you recognize that you need some rest, then you should be conscious that you need to be a little bit more patient with people. That's going to take a little bit more energy today. So if it's going to take a little bit more energy, then maybe you should do less. Less is always better than more, especially if you are investing your being in what you're doing. So I don't want to make this a huge video. I want to make this a really short introductory video, and that's what I think we've done today. And invite you, if I can get the resource of this posted in the comment section within a considerable amount of time, to look over these quotes, research them, and there's a couple questions at the end of this resource that says, do any of these quotes hit home with you? Do these quotes have something to say to all of us? I think we already know how to answer that question. It's probably better to say, how do these quotes have something to say to all of us? That's a deeper questioning, right? And I'm going to add one question, because this is a question that I'm going to answer on my next video. How can you be of service to all humankind today, even in a small way? Just even in a small way. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. I already have something in mind, but my follow-through is more important than just the idea. Oh, the being and the do. Okay, yeah, we're back to it. So I'm keeping it under the 13 minutes, and I welcome you to Martin Luther King Jr. Day and to Experience Learning Center, where we are going to be exploring. I'll see you soon. And I'm going to figure out how to do this without having to go way up and push the stop button. We'll see you soon. Oh, do better by being better.